Yes.
Hi, everybody. It's Joe Choffy and Joe Rayo, who sits calmly to my left. And we are here tonight, the Joe and Joe Weather Show. And how are you, Mr. Rayo?
I'm doing just fine, Mr. Choppy.
Yes, exactly. We will explain that momentarily. The Joe and Joe Show, brought to you by the folks at Omni True Value Hardware at 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon, New York, in southwest Suffolk County on Long Island, where you can get all the mulch, topsoil, gravel, and anything else you need to make your yard look like a palace. 631 756 1125 is the telephone number. The website is omnitruevalue.com, and also brought to you by Wholesale Holiday Lighting by Giannini. And they are also on Long Island at 162 Ocean Avenue in Lindenhurst, just a stone's throw from Omni True Value Hardware. You can kill two birds with one stone, whether you're getting your home decorated for the holidays, which, by the way, will be here sooner than you think. Or maybe you want to do this as a business come Christmas time or Halloween time. Give them a call, 631 957 5106. And the website is liholidaylighting.com. Now,
Yes.
Mr. Rayo's reference to Joe Choppy, Choppy, is due to the fact that, well, uh, I'm in a book. And my friend from high school, Dr. John Avanzato, who's been a doctor in upstate New York for many years now. Well, he kind of decided that he loved to write, so he created a character called Dr. John Cesari, and he is kind of Dr. John Cesari is sort of like, I guess we could call him the uh, Jessica Fletcher, maybe, of the medical profession, solving murder mysteries and bringing people to justice. Well, John's latest book is called Under the Weather, and it is available now on Amazon for Kindle or for paperback. I bought my copy today, but let me just read you uh, Dr. John Avanzato's little description about, and you're going to love this, Joe, about what this particular book is about. I believe this is book number 12, by the way, in his series. So anyway, Dr. Chesaday's best friend from high school, Joe Choffy, Choffy, as opposed to Cioffi, is now the head meteorologist for NBC in Manhattan. Not WNBC, mind you, Joe, but NBC,
Oh.
the nothing but crap network. Uh, Now, his fellow weathermen in the tri state area are being targeted by a serial killer when
Oh.
an, when an attempt is made on, yes, when an attempt is made on Chaffee's life, he enlists the aid of Cesare and Vito, Cesare's
Vito.
cohort,
Vito.
Vito, yes. But all is not what it seems, and soon Cesare finds himself in the eye of the storm. Yesterday's forecast is pain and lots of it for the bad guys. Under the Weather, this new novel this new John Cesari novel, at Cesary, is now available, I said, on Amazon in Kindle or on paperback. And I'm just absolutely thrilled, believe it or not. I mean, this really stunned me that John did this, and I'm just I'm beyond words. Now it could turn out I don't I just ordered the book, so I haven't read it yet, and I actually have the PDF copy of it, but I wanted to wait to get the book itself. I ordered it, and it's on its way. So this is so I just think this is so cool. It really is. And I
Well,
actually invited John to come on the show tonight, but he's had his hands full. I mean, what with the movie deal, the mini series.
So the killer has targeted all of the broadcast meteorologists in New York, and now it is your turn, supposedly.
Supposedly. Now,
Supposedly to
I
be
mean,
targeted.
it could be perhaps. Yeah, I mean, perhaps I'm the guilty party. Perhaps I'm not. Maybe I set this up, to make myself look innocent. And after all, I am innocent. Um, but or maybe not. I really don't know. Like I said, I'm going to read. I ordered the book, and I'm going to put the link up on the chat board for those of you who are interested. But as I said, I'm just really floored by it. So, John, we're gonna have John on the show sometime in the next couple of weeks, and we'll talk to him. Now, it's kind of interesting, Joe, because here's someone you have your career that, especially in the medical profession. One of the ways I think that we're similar is that we're kind of 24/7. It's very hard for us to take time off. I mean, when you have a boss like Mr. Ruben Fairchild, it's almost impossible to even take a day off. But no matter. But it is. But he felt he felt the calling to write, and it's hard enough to write one book, let alone a series here, and he's on his way to book 13. So I just think this is just amazing. Actually, I really do. I'm very much in admiration of John for the fact that was able to do this.
Now the question is, obviously he doesn't use your real name, but he says other meteorologists in the area were on the hit list.
I
so to
wonder
speak.
who.
Now, does he actually mention specific names?
I don't know.
I mean, people.
I have no idea.
I wonder if he was able to do that anyway.
I don't. My guess. Well, my guess is probably not. But the names are always changed to protect the guilty.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll find out. I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna read the book. I'm getting the book. I ordered it. It should be here on Thursday, and I will let. I'll let you know some of it. I won't give it all away.
All right.
Now,
well,
I have one other confession. Okay, Joe, I have a confession. I got here a little bit late. We started the show a couple of minutes late because I had to move the computer down into the basement studio that I have here. And anyway, the reason why I waited to the last minute was because, well, I've kind of been binge watching a show, and I'm almost afraid to tell you what show it is.
okay.
I'm hooked on. I got hooked on it.
Is this a show in syndication or is this a show?
Yeah, no, it's a show in syndication. It went off the air back in 2001, I believe. But
Hill Street Blues.
No. I've been watching Star Trek Voyager. Did you faint? Did I lose you? Yes, I lost you.
Star Trek Voyager.
Star Trek Voyager. Now, I'm going to just tell you, because I just happened to start watching it, and I never binge watch show. If I watch something, I'll watch something for one episode, maybe 2 episodes. But I actually watched like 5 episodes in a row, and now I've been watching more and more of it, so I'm kind of getting filled in. I think the reason why I like it, because I'm not a big Star Trek fan. I am a Lost in Space fan, which, Joe, you are. I'm not a big Star Trek fan, but I think the reason why I like this show is because in a way, it's kind of a cross between Star Trek and Lost in Space, because it gets a little campy. I think you might actually enjoy it. There were a few odd characters in this version, Star Trek version. So anyway, I wanted to put that on the table and just be very open and upfront about it, that I am watching Star Trek Voyager. For all you Star Trek Voyager fans out there.
All right. I have to tell you something. I had the opportunity to sit down one on one with the actress who played um, uh, Catherine Janeway,
Oh my God, Kate
Kate,
Mulgrew.
Kate Mulgrew,
Oh my God, what a
and
what an incredible woman she is. I've been reading about her bio and her life. I know we should probably save this for the end of the show, but go ahead. But she's wonderful.
well, the moment that they mentioned it came. This was back when I was doing. Um, each day I was answering phone calls on behalf of the Hayden Planetarium, answering questions in astronomy, and there was a situation where, and I'm trying to remember the exact case where um, they called and they needed something, some scientific expert or whatever, or some scientific person to brief one or two of the people who were appearing on that show, and one of them was Kate Mulgrew, and I I had to confess to the guy who I spoke with. I said, first of all, I've never been a fan of Star Trek. I've seen exactly two episodes, and that was the episodes from the 1960s. I think one of them was City on the Edge of Forever, which had Joan Collins
Right,
as a guest. This is when Captain Kirk and Mr. Spock and Bones McCoy go back to the 1930s because Bones screwed up something and changed the course of history,
right.
and the Nazis were going to take over, and Joan Collins had to die, and it was a very interesting, if not riveting, episode. And the only reason why I watched it was that I was with a bunch of friends. This goes back into the mid 70s. We went to a Star Trek convention, and that's all they did was they showed old Star Treks. And I think some of the stars of the series came out, and 10,000 people were screaming their name and everything else. Anyway, I never got into Star Trek, never really was interested in Star Trek. I told this guy, and he was like playing this up. He says, "You get a chance to meet, Captain Janeway, Kate Mulgrew." And I hate to tell you this, Joe, at the time, I knew nothing about Captain Janeway. I didn't know anything about Kate Mulgrew, and I probably bruised a few egos because after telling this person this, they said, "Well, all right, well, thank you very much," and click. And
Right.
I told a few people later, and they reacted much the same way you just did. "Oh my God, Kate Mulgrew! Oh, Captain Janeway! And you have a
Well,
chance to meet her and everything." And I said, "What did I do? I guess I blew my chance to meet
well,
a star."
let me just tell you, because people only see the persona on television, on a show, and I was reading about the fact that she came from a large family in from the Midwest, and I, her mom, her mother was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, and Kate Mulgrew wrote about that whole experience, and she cared for her mother for 9 years as she watched her, slowly uh, get sick, get more and more ill as the Alzheimer's took its toll. And I plan on getting a hold of that book and reading it. But I was just reading the general article about that part of her life and how she had to, she basically stepped back, and she was her mother's caretaker. Anyway, again, you see the persona on TV, you see the actor, you see a
Right.
show, and then you don't always remember that we're all human beings. We live the human experience. We have lives. We have children, or perhaps we don't, but we take other paths. But at the end of the day, we all have lives, and it just touched me in a very very important way. So I admire her for that. And also, by the way, she was for folks that might be watchers of Orange is the New Black. She was on that show. I only watched one season of it, but she got a Best Supporting Actress nomination, I believe in 2017, for the character she played in that particular show. So anyway, it was just it's an interesting program, Star Trek Voyager, because I sit there and there are a couple of characters that I find very, I like very much. One is called Seven of Nine. I won't go into it too much, but the point is, it kind of feels like a Star Trek and Lost in Space kind of crash. The Jupiter 2 and the Voyager kind of crash, and sort of became one in terms of some of the plot lines.
I
Anyway,
read here that the reason why it got canceled, there were two reasons. The narrative of the series came to an end. The show had run its course, and the end of the series was a natural result of that. And also, the series was being moved out of the way to be replaced by yet another part of the Star Trek franchise, Enterprise.
yes.
And the franchise wanted to give it a new direction, and that was the prequel series, Enterprise. So that show, Star Trek, which was it only lasted like 3 seasons back in the 60s, and then they canceled it, and then all of the Trekkies got into an uproar. In my opinion, that show is just going to continue to run forever.
Mm-hmm.
Really, it's never going to end. But like I said, the only two shows of Star Trek I've ever watched, out of all of them, was the one about the one with Joan Collins, The City on the Edge of Forever, and The Trouble with Tribbles. this thing about all these furry creatures.
Yes, I remember that
just
one.
They multiplied all over the ship or whatever. And the interesting thing is, the fact that I don't like, or not don't like, but never have really got into Star Trek. And my wife put it up on the chat board when I said, I can't understand how they communicate with other beings from other worlds who know perfect English.
Yeah.
They speak perfect English. It's crazy like that. But the other thing, the interesting thing about Star Trek is that one of the 3 men who went to the moon in 1969 on Apollo 11, Michael Collins, astronaut Collins, who was in the command module circling the Earth while his 2 friends, Armstrong and Aldrin, were cavorting on the moon. I had a chance to spend some time with Michael Collins many years later. And when I went to try to it was on a cruise to see an eclipse. And the last night I was trying to find him so he could autograph a certificate for me. And I finally tracked him down. He was in the movie theater practically by himself. I mean, everybody else was packing to go home the next morning. He and a couple other people were in the movie theater, and he was like hooked. I could tell by looking in his eye. He was just enthralled by this movie that he was watching. And the movie that he was watching that he was so into was Star Trek 4. That was the movie where, and I don't even know why they went back in time or forwards. They had to bring a whale.
Yes, I never saw that. I never saw that one.
But you had to see. Here's Michael Collins, who went to the moon, for God's sake,
Mm-hmm.
and he's sitting there watching the movie looking like this.
Yeah.
So I'll never understand it, but there you go. People like Star Trek.
Well, Steve LaPointe hit Super Chat tonight. Thanks very much. I did see your Facebook post with Lloyd Lindsay Young. Big hello back to Lloyd Lindsay Young. Maybe we could try to get him on the show one day. He's certainly welcome to come on. And the chairman hitting Super Chat. Thank you very much, Scott. Now that you're not working on a nightly basis, which is a good thing. So put your feet up and relax a little bit. All right.
He had his son also was a weatherman, Lloyd Lindsay Young, and I forget the son's name, but they were on Channel 9 for many years as a team. Lloyd Lindsay Young did weekdays, and the son did weekends. And then for whatever reason, one day, they came to Lloyd Lindsay Young and said, things are not working out with your son. So we have to let him go. And if we let him go, would you be interested in working his shift as well as your own shift? And of course, Lloyd Lindsay Young said no. And get this, they went to the son and said, well, your dad has been here much too long. Would you be interested in taking over his shift as well as your? This is Channel 9 now, WWOR. And of course, the son said no. And finally, Channel 9 said, all right, well, then we're getting rid of both of you. And that was that. And they both ended up going out west. I think Lloyd Lindsay Young now is, I don't know if he's still on television. I know he's doing radio I think it's Sacramento, California. But
Yeah.
it just goes to show you how wonderful the TV industry is.
I was just going to say, can you imagine the ass of management who came up with that idea?
Yeah.
You
They go
know,
behind your back and they say, your father's not making it. You want to take over for him?
right.
And then when that didn't work, they went to the son. They said, they went to the father. They said, your son's not making it. You want to take, crazy. But that's,
It's just,
ladies and gentlemen, welcome to TV, and also welcome to the fact that Joe and I are no longer on TV.
yes. And yeah, it's disgusting. And I listen, I could add to a whole bunch of stories like that. And maybe one day after a good glass of wine, uh, and I check with my lawyer first. We can have a conversation with regards to this. Okay, so I know we've kind of like ate the first 20 minutes of the show, but that's because it's our show. We can pretty much do whatever we want. So, Mr. Ruben Fairchild, while we were talking about all of this, is replacing every weather person in New York because he hates them all. So so he's busy right now at the moment.
And he never heard of Lloyd Lindsay Young, which makes sense because Lloyd Lindsay Young has been out of TV in New York
for
for I
quite
think
a
like
while
40 years, 35, 40 years.
At least, maybe more.
Long before you became a gleam in your father's eye.
That's right.
Ruben
Quite a
Fairchild.
gleam it must have been. All right, so anyway, we love you, Ruben. Don't get us wrong. But you're too easy. Let's put it that way. It's just too easy. Okay, so let me bring up. I somehow lost our sponsor IDs, kind of disappeared there. So got to put those back up on the screen. So of
And
course,
you're right, Ken Marzullo is right. I heard the show he was alluding to. He said he heard Lloyd Lindsay Young as a guest on WABC this past winter, like at 1:00 in the morning, as a guest on the Frank Morano show. And I heard a clip of that show. So yes, Lloyd Lindsay Young still lives here in New York, in the minds and hearts of many, even though he's again out west, out in California somewhere.
correct. All right, let's get going with the with weather here, and of course, we're slowly moving our way through this week and going into the Memorial Day holiday weekend. But before we even talk about that, let's get first things first. And of course, we got a break from the one-day heat of yesterday. Joe, I'm starting to think there's something wrong with the Newark thermometer because it looked, at one point yesterday, it was like 4 or 5 degrees higher than just about everybody else. But I'll give it a few. I'll see how it behaves on Wednesday.
We used to say that about the Teterboro thermometer, if you
Right,
remember.
and we always say it about the LaGuardia thermometer, but I haven't really noticed that that's behaved any differently. In the meantime, not a bad day here. I mean, we were fighting clouds here on Long Island for much of the first part of the day, but then at least in Suffolk County anyway, we kind of cleared out. But there's been kind of persistent cloudiness today from south and west of New York City. You can see it on the loop down into Virginia and North Carolina. There were even some showers and 1 or 2 thunderstorms that developed in parts of West Virginia, moving into Western Virginia, and we're seeing those blow off tops this evening on the loop. Excuse me. Also, still seeing persistent Gulf moisture running up through the Western Gulf. And now even a little bit further east from Louisiana northward. All of that continues to push northward up into to the western lakes and also back into the central and southern plains. So that's where all the real action is going on. We still got dealing with troughing out in the west and in the northwest where there's precip going on in the form of rain and some snow in the starting to get to the time of year where you got to go higher and higher up to see snowfall. The Storm Prediction Center, I'll start with tonight, does have one working tornado watch up in western Nebraska and for a county or two in Colorado, a severe thunderstorm watch in West Texas. You see where the slight and marginal risks are, with the marginal risk running up into western Wisconsin. Also a marginal risk this evening in eastern West Virginia and western Virginia into a small portion of north central North Carolina. Now, for tomorrow, the risk area remains in about the same place, although it's only a marginal risk this time around in a narrow band from West Texas, northeast up into the upper peninsula of Michigan. Nothing going on in the east. the coastal east anyway, eastern Virginia on up into New England, interior New York State, western PA, down into interior Virginia, West Virginia, western North Carolina, the chance that there could be an isolated shower or thunderstorm. And then on Wednesday, the Storm Prediction Center actually does have a rather large area of marginal risk from the from eastern Michigan, eastern Indiana, across Ohio, and then pretty much all of the northern and mid-Atlantic up to Maine, with the exception of the immediate coast. It looks like on the afternoon run update on this, Joe, that they kind of nudged the line, the eastern part of this area a little bit further to the east to kind of cut across Long Island and into southeastern New England, which I think makes sense because there's not going to be a whole lot of a sea breeze to deal with on Wednesday. And with all that daytime heating plus the cold front coming down, this time around, I think there might be a little bit more for this weather front to work on late Wednesday afternoon and evening.
Now, do you think that in terms of timing, I was thinking that, it obviously looks like a squall line or maybe a couple of lines that will be associated with that cold front. And I would think that the heaviest activity might actually be based upon the movement of the front, maybe in the late night hours of Wednesday night, and maybe even lingering into early Thursday morning, although sometimes these squall lines, these fronts jump way ahead of the actual front or the actual catalyst that's producing this activity. So that, again, as you just said, maybe later on Wednesday or Wednesday evening. I just have the feeling that much of Wednesday may turn out to be kind of warm, if not downright hot, kind of sticky and humid, but the fireworks really won't begin or get underway in earnest until probably toward the end of the day or maybe even sometime during Wednesday night.
Well, on the digital hot and forecast from the Weather Service for Wednesday, and I know we kind of skipped over Tuesday here for a minute, but we'll get back to that. Large area of low 90s. I still think there's a chance that we could see some spots get to 94 or 95 on Wednesday, provided that there's enough sun. But this is a pretty extensive area of 90-degree highs that goes all the way up into southwestern Maine and southern New Hampshire. So we're seeing 90s pushing up into New England, 90-degree highs or better down through Baltimore, Washington, D.C., and even further south into Virginia. Very hot in North Carolina, some upper 90s showing up at Fayetteville, in South Carolina, Columbia giving a high of 97, Augusta 97, Atlanta. I won't be back in Georgia for this. I'll be here. 95 for Atlanta, 86 for where I am in Blairsville in Union County in North Georgia. So I'll be just out. This is sort of in general where I am in North Georgia. I'm 2,200 feet above sea level, and I've been told that it's usually about 5 to 7 degrees cooler in that part of Georgia than it is, say, so if Atlanta gets to 95, I'll only get to about 88, 87, something like that. And you can see from the forecast going for 86. So I'm going to miss this first experience of big heat in Georgia and see how it feels like in the mountains. But it'll be every bit as hot here with temperatures up into the 90s. I think, if we get this daytime heating, and I want to see what the dew points look like on Wednesday. I think they were shown to be up into the low 60s from what I looked at earlier.
Something, Joe, if you had a chance to look at both the NAM and the GFS for Wednesday now, the numbers that they're putting out are really, like you're talking about possibly low to mid 90s. The NAM, for example, for New York City on Wednesday is not going much higher than 77 degrees.
For a high?
For a high.
Really?
For a high, believe it or not. And the GFS for New York City on Wednesday is going for a high of, the high, they're saying 82, although if you take a look at the 3-hourly temperatures, the highest on the 3-hourly temperatures is 79. So they're talking about temperatures like 10 degrees, 15 degrees cooler than what you're saying.
Well, I wonder, Joe, because Saturday we saw temperatures up into the 90s in parts of New Jersey, and the models were terrible with that, as I
Right.
recall. So I don't know. I'm kind of the thing that might stop it, and I want to go back to the satellite loop. The thing that might stop it. One of the things I noticed here for tonight, for example, this almost looks like when you get we had this cold front that moved through yesterday. Okay, um, and last night, and that frontal boundary is now lying to the south, and you're getting these clouds that are formed that are north of that dying frontal boundary, but it almost looks like a cold front that stalls out and then comes back up as a warm front, which is kind of what's going to happen tomorrow. So, I mean, I didn't see any hint on the guidance. I mean, on the NAM or on the GFS, of that front getting hung up in any way. So, I'm looking at I'm looking at the 18Z, which has got 1, 2, 3, 4 westerly isobars between Southern Virginia and Central New York. I don't know. I mean, how?
Yeah. This is what I'm arguing about is the fact that, and even the GFSX, the extended GFSX numbers, tabular numbers for a high in New York City on Wednesday, they're only going 82. So
Hmm.
I'm scratching my head and saying, well, I mean, we always knew that there was a bias that these models, especially the GFS, especially we saw this earlier in the year where, the temperatures soared and they still stayed rather low. But this is ridiculous. I mean, if they go back into the 90s on Wednesday or near 90, they're going to be off by a good 8 or 10 or 12 degrees. That's
I'm
crazy.
just looking at the setup on this surface here, and I'm thinking, how is it not going to go to 90? You've got a high that moves out southeast of Cape Cod and goes out, and then actually kind of resettles a little bit further to the southeast, and a whole bunch of screaming westerly isobars that set up Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, and continue all day on Wednesday. Now the GFS does have on this run uh, does kind of go a little wild with thunderstorms late Wednesday afternoon and evening. So I mean, it's a little bit stronger than some of the prior runs. I just want to see. I'm going to bring up the temperatures here. I just want to take a look at um,
Now
what.
the dew points that all the models are calling for seem reasonable. The dew point temperatures, they're placing it in the mid and upper 60s. Now therein is the missing link to what we had yesterday, where there was hardly any activity, mainly because there was nothing for for the transfer of as the temperatures fell and as the new air mass moved in, there was nothing really, no juicy air, so to speak, to set off lots of convection, heavy convection. Now we're talking about dew points maybe 10 or 12 degrees higher. So yeah, you get that. And if you indeed get those temperatures well into the 80s or even the 90s, then get ready. We're going to be we're priming the atmosphere for something nasty maybe by later Wednesday and Wednesday
Yeah,
night.
I'm even looking, Joe. I'm looking at the 18Z for 18Z Wednesday in terms of the temperatures. Uh, the you have to go south of Washington D.C. To find the 90-degree isotherm. This is the northern part of the 90-degree isotherm. I mean, it barely gets you got a closed 85-degree isotherm west of New York City. It's got a 65, the 70-degree isotherm cuts across central Long Island at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And
Right.
I don't know. I'm looking at the structure on the surface. Something's not right here. What are these? Either I'm going to be terribly off on the temperatures, or the GFS is going to be. And I'm pulling up the 18Z NAM, and it's even worse on the 18Z NAM, Joe. It doesn't even get to 75 in New York City. It's between 70 and 75, and the 65-degree isotherm runs just east of me at 2 o'clock in the afternoon on Wednesday. And no 90-degree highs. You have to go down into North Carolina, into southeastern Georgia to find anything close to a 90-degree to the 90-degree isotherm.
Right.
Someone's going to be horribly, something or someone is going to be horribly wrong.
Yeah. Well, I just pulled up the National Weather Service, which I rarely ever look at. I just was curious. Curiosity killed a cat. I just wanted to see what they were calling for. And Joe, on Wednesday, their forecast is calling for temperatures in the low 90s with a chance of late day thunderstorms. So they seem to be looking at it from the standpoint that, yeah, the models don't know what the heck they're talking about. We're going to go with the heat and humidity.
Well, I mean,
So,
if they go back to if they go back to the example of what happened on Saturday,
right.
then where it had everybody in the 70s for the most part on the day before. I think they got burned on that, and to an extent, so did I.
And
But
this is the new GFS, right?
right,
This is the perpendicular
this is the
GFS. They
perpendicular
just
GFS.
the one that they just replaced, the new and improved GFS.
Well, you know what? I have Pivotal Weather's European here, so let me see okay, so this is, I got to find it. I don't remember where it is. Surface and precipitation, 2 meter temperature. All right, so let's see what the European did. And I'm guessing that the European is hotter. But let's go to, so this would be 54 hours. And 54 hours, I'm sorry, 54. Oh, because I have the Z, stupid me, I got the 0Z run up here. Hang on a second. So 54 hours would be 18Z. Yeah, I mean, Joe, you look at the European, and I'll put the northeast image here. Take a look at the European temperatures here. I mean, they've got 90s. They have all of New Jersey is in lower 90s. Looks like near 90 in New York City. Has about a 78 for Central Long Island. I think that's too low, way too low. Middle, upper 80s to low 90s. It kind of looks like what the Weather Service did was they went with they looked at the European, and that they're using the European temperature profile, which has middle and upper 90s down from Washington D.C. on southward. So the European, I think the European has the better idea here. Let's put it that let's put it in those terms.
All right, we will.
Okay. All right. So why don't we start looking at the rest of the week and going into the weekend. Let me set up. I'm going to set up this map first. I am on one monitor tonight because I didn't have time. In all my excitement of watching Star Trek Voyager, I forgot that I had to set up the my second monitor so I could have two monitors to use. But between that and being in the book, in John Avanzato's book, I mean, my God, that was just like awesome. Okay.
What a day.
Yeah, it was. It's a loaded day. All right, so here's the situation as we go after Wednesday. So we get this cold front to move on through. You'll notice that there's energy that continues to just kind of come into the Pacific Northwest. There's another trough and shortwave on Friday moving out of the Western Lakes. And the argument that the models have been having between the GFS and the European is the extent to which the southern part of this just kind of gets left behind and then hangs along the East Coast into the weekend, with the GFS taking, having a much more closed off low that takes forever to get out of the way. Whereas the European, is not quite like the GFS. It has the same trough, but it doesn't linger it as much. It actually moves it along a little faster and out of here. So here's my thinking on the holiday weekend. So getaway day, we'll probably have some rain to deal with later Friday night into early Saturday. I think of the 3 weekend days, the Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Memorial Day weekend is the one that you're most likely to lose at least one of those days. Some years you lose two, but I'm thinking of the 3 days, Saturday might be the day that gets, let's say, sacrificed. Sunday is going to depend on the position of that trough. It is a cold pool aloft. You wonder whether that we might have one of these kind of days where you have sun early, that maybe some sun early with developing clouds and some instability, scattered showers or a thunderstorm running around for Sunday with temperatures on the coolish side. And then Monday should be probably, of the 3 days, that will probably be the best of the three. That's sort of how I'm looking at this right now.
I would agree on that point. I think eventually the sheer heaviness of that high that's going to be to our north is just going to say, all right, enough with this, and just push that relatively small area of low pressure to the south or to the south and east of our area, and allow for enough drying and enough clearing and enough improvement for the latter part of the weekend. But I do agree with you that Getaway Day Friday doesn't look like a very pretty day out there, with the threat of some rain and shower activity lingering on into perhaps the day on Saturday for a while as well.
Now you can follow this along on the new GFS, by the way, as we take you through it on the surface. And of course, here's your cold front for Wednesday, which is rather vigorous. And you're right, there is there's a lead trough that comes through with thunderstorms late Wednesday afternoon and Wednesday evening. If you follow the isobars, you can kind of see where it is approaching the coast. And the actual real cold front is much further back to the northwest. Uh, then on Thursday, which I think it's going to be one of those days where cool air is trying to get in and it doesn't quite succeed completely. So we'll still probably have temperatures, I don't know, mid 70s to around or just over 80. And then on Friday, here comes your low with that shortwave swinging out of the western lakes, moving through the Ohio Valley, kind of redevelops there in Delaware Bay, and then passes south of Long Island. The problem is with the GFS, this is Saturday morning. So we do have some, a fairly substantial amount of rain that comes through late Friday afternoon into early Saturday morning, or later Friday afternoon into early Saturday morning. And then with that upper low kind of hanging behind, you'll probably have some lingering clouds and maybe some showers or even a period of rain is what the GFS suggests here for Sunday. And then out it goes. And then on Monday, you finally get into some genuine improvement. The European, on the other hand, Joe, when you look at it, it it suggests exactly what you said. Excuse me. It suggests exactly what you said with respect to how this will play out, where the high to the north eventually just kind of overwhelms everything and suppresses the frontal boundary to the south. And it does it a whole lot faster than what the GFS does. So you take the weather front on the European, which, by the way, oddly enough, for Wednesday, it takes all the thunderstorms to our north and doesn't really bring anything here. Then on Friday, here comes your low. This is Friday afternoon. It has the rain coming in actually a bit faster, and it actually goes out faster. And then you spend the day on Saturday kind of fighting a second wave that develops down in southern North Carolina with that high to the north. Gradually, the high winds out for Sunday and Monday. It'll be a cool Sunday and Monday, but it'll be dry, and we'll probably have some sun in the cards on both days if the European is correct. And I tend to lean in that direction. I'm trying to lean a little. I said this morning I'm cautiously optimistic for 2 of the 3 days of the weekend, Sunday and Monday. Not so much for Saturday, and that's kind of where my head is at.
I would agree. And if you remember yesterday, what I had said in that the fact that the at least the GFS is trying to produce some kind of a closed system for a short while in the upper atmosphere to slow everything down for Friday, and then it opens it up again. I said yesterday that sometimes, even after something like this opens up, that it kind of leaves, and you don't see it on the charts, but it kind of leaves like a gopher hole or something, where the next time we have any kind of a system that is coming into that same area that shows signs of like a low pressure disturbance, upper level disturbance, it kind of moves over that old area, and all of a sudden it's like it falls into that trap of suddenly closing off again, and you have the same problem that you had just a few days earlier. It's now reenacting itself again in the same, basically in the same spot. So what I'm saying is that whatever we see here on Friday or in the start of the upcoming weekend, that maybe, several days later, like sometime in the middle or latter part of next week, we may see once again another one of these systems come in and fall into that hole, close off, and then we're stuck again trying to get rid of that thing. Sometimes these things, they're very persistent. Just sometimes you get a cycle of 2 or 3 of those kind of disturbances that come in, and all of a sudden, oh no, it was stuck again. And this looks to me like that type of a setup for not just this weekend, but for maybe a number of days to come beyond that, and maybe a little bit of sunshine in between.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. This is, if it was up to me, if we could skip April, May, and a good part of June from the standpoint of weather forecasting, if I didn't have to forecast, somebody said to me, you could take 3 months off every year from forecasting. Which 3 months would you take off? And I would just, without even blinking an eye, I would say April, May, and June. Just get me out of the spring. It's such a, and you know what? A lot of it has to do with where where we are. I mean, we're in the Northeast. I have said many times, I don't know where this idea that spring in the Northeast was some sort of wonderful nirvana experience, because it never has been and never will be. It's like this every spring. It's miserable more often than not. I mean, I think we've had probably more nicer days this spring than most years, most spring times. But it's still from a forecast standpoint, it's just such a challenge. It's worse than the winter time.
It is. It is. And people probably are very surprised. They probably, when you would have asked that question, they probably would have thought, January, February, March is the 3 worst times. But actually,
no.
those could be action-packed months, as opposed to and months which have clearer outcomes, as opposed to, as you just said, April, May, and June, which who knows sometimes.
Hate it.
Yep.
Oh, God. All right. So, who has who has?
I don't think I have Thriller Jeopardy.
Do you, or do I have it? Maybe I think I have it. Hold on, because I think Scott said it was a Memorial Day theme, as I recall. By the way, my friend John Avanzato was watching the show, and he's like, he's thrilled. He's thrilled, and I'm glad. I'm really glad. Okay, so here we go. Excuse me. So these are the theme, of course, now centers around the Memorial Day in terms of records, and this is Central Park questions. Memorial Day records in Central Park since 1971, Joe. This is the 50th anniversary since the last Monday in May became a federal holiday for Memorial Day in 1971. So within three for credit, what was the coldest daytime high on Memorial Day in Central Park?
Daytime high?
Yes.
God, I could remember a few Memorial Days that were stinky. I mean, like cloudy and drizzly and dreary and bleh. How about 52?
Okay, very good. You're within 3. The answer is 55. Can you say what you think? What year?
I'm going to take a guess and say 19. Well, there are a few of them. I'll say 1971.
Well, you know what? That's also within 3. 1974. Very good.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, since 1971, this one actually surprised me a bit. Since 1971, what was the highest temperature ever recorded on Memorial Day?
On Memorial Day?
Yes.
I could remember 1969, but that was the traditional Memorial Day. That was a hot one. It was a Friday too. But let's see. I'm going to say I'll say 94 degrees.
You're not within 3. This one actually surprised me, but it has never gone above 90 on Memorial Day.
Wow, really?
In the last 50 years. It has gone to 89 3 times. 1991, 1999, and in 2012.
But never 90 or above.
Never 90 or above. Okay.
That's pretty amazing.
Since 1971, the lowest temperature ever recorded on the morning of Memorial Day.
I
Excuse me.
think in the last 50 years, bless you.
Thank you.
Is
No,
that a
my
sneeze?
throat's dry.
Oh, I'm gonna go down low for this. I'm not gonna say, well, I remember early in the
Yeah,
month of
you do that, Joe. You go down low. Go ahead.
I remember in the first half of May a few times when New York got into the 30s. I don't think that's possible though late in May. So I'll say the coldest Memorial Day low temperature 40 44.
On the nose. Can you guess what year?
No, I'll throw out a year and see if it sticks. 1980. Wait a minute. 1981.
1992.
1992. All right. Well,
I was trying to through telepathy trying to get you to say 1992. What was the highest temperature on Memorial Day last year?
I don't even remember Memorial. Yeah, well, I don't even remember what Memorial. This is so sad now as you get older. I mean, if you had asked me like 10, 15 years ago, I would have liked that, because I was like right there.
You would have given
And I
him
don't even,
date, year, and time of day.
yeah, but I don't even remember what Memorial Day last year was like, whether it was cloudy and dreary or sunny and bright. And I have absolutely no clue. What was the question?
Right, I was going to say, you're at the age now where you're happy enough where you get up in the morning and you can get your leg into your pants.
Yeah.
What of the 3 Memorial Day weekend? I'm sorry. What was the? That's the next question. What was the high temperature on Memorial Day last year?
I'll say, well, it was, I don't know, 86.
71.
71.
Yep. Question. Here's the next one. Of the 3 Memorial Day weekends, of the 3-day Memorial Day weekend since 1971, which day of the weekend, Saturday, Sunday, or Monday, has had more significant rain?
So which of the 3 weekend days out of the last 50 years combined now, right?
Right.
Of the last 50 years, which of those 3 days has seen more rain than any of the other days? How about? Well, I'll say the actual holiday, Monday.
Monday is the correct answer. And
Oh,
finally, what percentage of the 3-day Memorial Day holiday weekends since 1971 have been completely dry? And you have to answer within 5% of for credit.
completely dry.
Completely dry.
So which percentage out of the 50?
Out of the 50,
Completely dry.
completely dry.
I don't even think Memorial Day to me has always been a bad luck holiday, and we've never really had. I actually remember one. I think it was 1981 where we had 3 glorious weather days: Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. But I think that's like few and far between. I'm going to say something like, I'll say like 40%.
It's actually a little lower than that. It's actually only 33%, or 1/3 of
Right.
those weekends were completely dry. The rest of them had rain on at least one day.
Right.
So,
Right.
as I said, I've made it noted many times with respect to the Memorial Day holiday weekend. That's the one where you're going to lose at least one day
Right.
out of that weekend, and I think the stats bear that out. Johnny Quest hitting super chat tonight. Thank you so much, sir. Most appreciated as always. So I think
Did we
that
have somebody else? Didn't we have somebody else who hit super chat?
Scott Briller and Steve Lapointe all hitting super chat tonight.
Right. Right.
And we
To the new
thank the three of all three for hitting.
The chairman says to the new Joe and Joe Variety Hour, sponsored by you know who.
Dicker and Dicker of Beverly
Beverly
Hills.
Hills.
Yes, exactly. Oh, you can't even tag them anymore on Facebook because they apparently somebody told me didn't they shut down from my understanding. Someone mentioned that. I forget who. But anyway, just want to once again, I'm going to put the link up in the chat board for those of you who are interested in getting Under the Weather by my high school buddy, doctor, and author of mystery novels of the character Dr. John Cesari, who is the medical version of, I guess, Jessica Fletcher on Murder, She Wrote. But the point is, this book that he's just written, Under the Weather, which is available on Amazon for Kindle or paperback, has a character in it, and it's me. So I don't, like I said, I don't know. Like I said earlier, I don't know if I'm the killer or, something else, or I get killed, or perhaps both.
No, don't go, Joe. Don't get killed, Joe.
I'm going to find out because I ordered the book, and I do not receive any royalties. No, Bill Rogers, none at all. I'll wait to negotiate those when the movie is done. Okay, if only. No, serious. But my buddy John, it's his book, so he gets all the benefits from it, and I'm more than happy to give him the plug here, considering he used me as a character. So anyhow, that's it. So tomorrow night do I have any autographed copies available? No, I don't. I just got, like I said, I just ordered the book myself. So I'll read it first, and then maybe we'll figure something out after that with regards to. I'll talk to John about signing a couple of copies for me. Anyway, tomorrow night we are at 8:30, correct?
We are at 8:30 tomorrow night, and I'm just doing something here, Joe. I just want to make sure. Do I share capabilities? No, I don't.
You will. Just give me a moment here. I have a feeling. I mean, I'm going to regret this. You have sharing capabilities. Go ahead.
Okay. So, in honor of what Scott Briller, the chairman, said, our show, our new show coming your way soon, a new variety show, will be sponsored.
Oh, you found Dicker and Dicker. Only Kenny Williams of the Hollywood Squares really knew. He had that really deep, that grand voice of his, that bass. Dicker and Dicker of Beverly Hills. And of course, everybody would laugh. And of course, I didn't really get it until I was about 50 years old.
Correct.
What the joke was. Shows you where my head was at. Both of them. Anyway.
All right.
We stuck that one in. Okay. So 8:30 tomorrow night. And then Wednesday, we'll have to go at 9. I mean, if we're going to have thunderstorms, we're probably should go at 9. So you're okay with that?
I'm okay. I'm concerned about Wednesday, though, because I have not one but 2 library talks back to back that evening. And the last thing that I really need is to have a thunderstorm come along and knock out power. For either one or both or all 3, the 2 library talks and Joe and Joe. So I'm hoping that if we do get active weather, it holds off until after we're off the air.
All right, so you know what?
On Wednesday.
Why don't we do this? I mean, in terms of Wednesday, because you do have your hands full, we'll see how these thunderstorms time out. If they time out early, then I'll probably, maybe I'll just jump on and solo. Or if they time out late, then we'll go at 9 o'clock. We'll play it by ear.
We'll play it by ear. And Scott Donig, that's a new name. I don't recognize that.
I think I've seen Scott on the board before.
Any case, thank you very much, Scott.
Oh,
Hitting
Scott,
super
thank you
chats
so much. Yes, thank you.
and very entertaining hour. So you see,
We
it doesn't always
try.
have to be all weather.
No, it doesn't. It really doesn't. But like I was saying before about Star Trek Voyager, and I'm like I said, I'm not a Star Trek. I think you might get after a couple of episodes, you might get into it. There's a lost in space edge to it that I think you'll pick up on. It's not obvious. It's a little on the subtle side, but I do believe it is there.
Well, if they have any of those episodes with a special guest appearance by Jonathan Harris, I might just watch.
Okay.
Special guest star.
Yes. All right, everybody. Thanks for being here tonight. We have, as always, had a lot of fun. Buy the book. Buy the book. Okay. And Joe and I will see you tomorrow tomorrow is 8:30 Eastern time. So we'll see you tomorrow night. Nighty night, everybody. And thanks for all the super chat hits tonight, too. Thank you. Good night.
Nighty night.